Joining us from our New York studio, Dan Conaway from the International Bar Association. And Brian Flynn, a spokesperson for the victims of the Lockerbie bombing. Mr. Flynn's brother was killed in that attack. So how do you see this, Mr. Flynn?
First of all, I think Gitmo would be too good for Qaddafi. And I also think your point about Libya helping the United States, Libya never has done anything to help the United States. And I think that there is no moral ambiguity here. Obama has a great opportunity to show leadership and to show support for the Libyan people. And I agree with your point that he needs to speak out more forcefully. And you said it earlier. To be fair, there may have been a risk to the lives of Americans that are still in Libya today. But I think right now, Qaddafi, I've been saying for 20 years that Qaddafi should be tried and convicted here in the United States, not in some international court, and definitely not in England.
Why do you think the president, aside from the American presence in Libya, isn't more forceful against Qaddafi and even Mubarak earlier in Egypt?
Yeah, and I think Qaddafi is a great chat. Mubarak, there may be more complications, but Qaddafi is a clean-cut situation. Qaddafi is more like Milosevic or Osama bin Laden. He has been proven to be behind the murder of American citizens. He attacked an American plane. You can't say the same about Mubarak, and you can't even say the same about Saddam Hussein. This is a guy who is a clear-cut enemy of the United States. What he should come out and say right now is to the people in Libya that Qaddafi is an enemy of the United States, and we support you in your efforts, to give them some of the momentum that they may need right now during these desperate times.
I agree. I mean, I certainly, even knowing the Americans, you have to start to step up. Now, Mr. Conaway, I would like to see the Americans get this guy, all right, first. And I don't mind if he's tried after we take care of him, but it was American jetliner that was blown up. And then if we convict him of that and then they want to take him to do the Berlin bombing or whatever, I don't mind that. But, I think the USA has to start to say, you got to get out of there now. We want him. I would even think about sending special forces in to get him at this point.
Well, and Bill, I think you've got a great point, and I think that Mr. Flynn makes an excellent point in that there is absolutely every reason why he can be extradited to the United States and tried here for the Lockerbie bombing. He can be tried under two principles here, the passive personality principle, which means that if an American is arrested, or rather if an American is injured overseas, then the person who injured him, in this case Qaddafi, can be brought here for trial. The other one is the universal principle of jurisdiction that says that if a crime is so heinous as to be an act against humanity and universally recognized, then any country can try him. And in this case, obviously, we have the moral grounds because, 189 people died. So I think Mr. Flynn makes great points. On the other side, there are good arguments for international prosecution, and the reason for those
all right, but let's hold that thought for a moment. The problem with international prosecution is it's kind of chaotic. You have to develop the world court. Milosevic was there for years and years and years until he died. They never even got around to convicting him because he was dead. And I mean, how chaotic that is over there. But at this point, the United States has jurisdiction in the sense that the war on terror, we grab guys all the time, all over the world. Okay. Yeah, Qaddafi's not Al-Qaeda, and I have to correct you, Mr. Flynn. Qaddafi did help us against Al-Qaeda. He did get information to the CIA for us to track down some Al-Qaeda people. But Qaddafi's a terrorist nonetheless, whether it's Al-Qaeda, whether it's Qaddafi, whether it's Muslim Brotherhood, whether it's Hezbollah, they're all terrorists. So, Mr. Conaway, we have the legal right to grab this man, correct?
We do. And so, there are excellent reasons there to do it. We clearly have jurisdiction. The international argument is straightforward too, and that is that this person has committed terrible crimes. They're clearly terrorist acts. They are crimes against humanity, and therefore he can be prosecuted anywhere under the universalist principle. And also,
right? Okay, I got it. But here's the rub. Qaddafi knows that. Qaddafi isn't like Mubarak. Nobody's going to bother Mubarak, I don't think. Mubarak's down someplace. He's got his money stashed somewhere. The world will probably forget him just like they forgot Idi Amin, which they shouldn't have forgot Idi Amin. They should have went after him. Okay, but this case, Mr. Flynn, this case, Qaddafi, not getting escaped. So Qaddafi's probably going to hang on in Libya as long as he can, and hundreds of more people, maybe thousands, will die because he knows he's got nowhere to go. So that's a pretty good argument for maybe an international team going in and just grabbing him. you know, going in and getting them right now.
There's a precedent in this case. Let's be clear. McGrahi was indicted by a U.S. federal grand jury on 193 counts. We don't need to go elsewhere. There is a precedent in this case to go after him. And I do support your point. I like your spirit, Bill. I always do. I think that we should take whatever actions are necessary to go after Gaddafi. I've been saying this for 20 years. Unfortunately, it's been falling on deaf ears through 4 presidents.
No, I know that. I know you've had a long struggle, but you know, karma is an interesting thing. It takes a long time, unfortunately. But right now, I think President Obama would be wise, and I'm going to continue to call for this. We're not going to stop.
Good.
To step up and say, all right, we're going to go after him. He's done. And if he does that, more momentum inside Libya. The armed forces in Libya will turn against Gaddafi. Right. As soon as President Obama says, he's done, we want him right now, that's it for Gaddafi. Ms. Conaway, real quick, last word.
Great arguments for international prosecution, too, because of crimes against humanity and because he's murdering and slaughtering his own civilians right now in his own country.
Okay, but let's USA take the lead here. And it would help us in the Arab world, too. They hate him. So let's get him.
Agreed.
Gentlemen, thanks very much. Next on the Rundown, Laura Ingraham on what she would do